Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to an Independent Scotland in Democracy 3. My name, of course, is Orbital Potato, and today we're continuing, and I think, to be honest, the way that I would describe our current situation is mixed. It's not bad, but it's certainly not as good as it could be. I mean, for example, we've got 3 green bubbles, which I'm pretty happy with. We've got egalitarian society. We've got this technological advantage, which is really, really nice, giving us a nice little boost to GDP and productivity, both of which helps us make a little bit more cash, a little bit more wonga wonga. And then we've got weather prediction technology, which, who cares really, but it's just a thing that is in existence. So, meh. It's alright, it's not the craziest. At the same time, we've got these negative modifiers, this food crisis, basically completely reliant on the food price here, and the food price has been absolutely jacked up to shit in regards to the fact that there is a water shortage going on at the moment. This water shortage looks like it's going to be ending fairly soon. We did deploy the Climate Change Adaptation Fund, and that should be working to get this water shortage issue down and hopefully eliminated for a good long time. Also, the environment is not as good as it could be. However, the asthma epidemic is going to be ending the very next turn, so we're going to save a little bit of cash there. The fact that we're running a deficit is worrying to me. It is very worrying to me. Almost all of this deficit is coming from the fact that our economy over the last couple of turns has shrunk massively, and as a consequence, the fact that we've got this climate change adaptation fund is really hurting us, actually, in terms of finances. I mean, almost all of our cash, well, basically all of our deficit could be cured if we just got rid of the climate change adaptation fund. But we're not going to do that because we need it. We absolutely need it. So we're going to have to think about what we're going to do over the next couple of turns, because yeah, we're going to have to be very careful. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we did introduce a policy. Was it airlines tax? That will actually reduce GDP by a shit ton. And maybe that's not something that we actually want to do. But it should help the oil price actually come down a little bit if the demand goes down. Fingers crossed, anyway. Electricity consumption. Yeah, we need to find a way to make sure that we get electricity consumption down. I really don't know how we're going to do that. We've probably got to invest in renewable energies a little bit more than we currently have been. But that's our top priority, getting the price of oil down so that we're not wasting like a shit ton on our GDP. I mean, what is it? I mean, the global economy, we can do nothing about, but we can do something about the oil price. It's 13%. So let's try and do something about that. Pollution controls. Yeah, pollution controls are alright. They're giving a nice little boost to the environment, which is helping out with the asthma epidemic. But whatever. Let's go to the next turn. Let's see what we've got lined up in store for us this time. Fantastic. Asthma epidemic has ended. Our GDP is continuing to fall down the gutter. Holy cow. We're going to be losing a substantial amount of money. 25.75 billion. Jeez. We're in a deep recession in terms of the global economy. That is very bad, actually. Very bad for us. We do not really have the cash reserves to continue like this forever. We've got a little bit of money. We've got 84 billion. That should last us at least 2 or 3 turns. But we're going to have to do something, and it's going to have to be fairly immediate. Anyway, water shortage is going to be ending next turn. Food crisis will be ending shortly after that, I would imagine. We're going to get 260 million, and no, this is not costing us anything, but that's annoying. I mean, the state healthcare service will go down a little bit. We will we will not have to pay as much money towards the health service as we currently are. Although we need to look into either a way of cutting expenditure or raising taxes. Now, what the government in Scotland would probably do is they'd probably say, hey, let's tax the rich in some way. And I think that is probably what we're going to be doing. Punitive wealth tax, that's not really going to raise as much money as we actually need. A luxury goods tax, that could be something that we're looking at. I mean, what about a luxury goods tax? A corporation tax. A corporation tax would be able to raise a substantial chunk of money in a fairly short time. You know what? I think we actually go for a corporation tax. It's going to damage GDP by 1%, but 1% is not very much at all. Can we push that to 2% perhaps? Maybe if we push it up to 2%-ish. And 2.8%, that's a little bit too high. Okay, 2.03%. It's going to raise us 20 billion. Capitalists are going to get a little bit annoyed with us. Going to increase the number of socialists in the country. And, of course, it's going to do a little bit of damage to our GDP. However, we're going to get 20 billion back. And the fact that we're going to get 20 billion back is a huge benefit to us, I think, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, quickly, let's just have a look at some of the other policies that we can employ. Now, we are looking specifically for perhaps an investment in technology that helps the environment. That's really what we're after. Eco-home regulations, perhaps. That's something that we could look at. A car tax. A car tax! Not really worth it, to be honest. We don't really have that many cars on the road, I don't think. Public services. Nuclear power stations. Hydropower. Hydropower we actually did have implemented. State Sciences Institute. Okay. Gain a large technology advantage. This costs a shit ton. Wow. Interesting thought. We could go for it, but I'm not really concerned that we need it at the moment. Nuclear power station is something that would make us much less dependent on oil, so that would probably boost our GDP, although is it worth the expenditure? I'm not entirely sure. Anything in law and order that we really want to introduce? No, none of that is really geared towards green legislation. Obviously, we've looked at the closed airports completely. Now, that would hurt GDP, but would it be worth it? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure. I'll be honest with you. Bicycle lanes, you know what? 1 billion for bicycle lanes. Holy shit, that is a lot of money. Whatever. We'll look into that next turn. For now, I'm just concerned. Assassinate foreign terrorist leader. Authorize the attack. Why not? As you can see, yep, our deficit has shrunk massively, which is very, very nice to see. Water shortage has ended at long last. That is beautiful. And GDP is falling, but it's not falling as rapidly as it was the previous 2 turns. So that is somewhat nice. I'm going to not sign the treaty because I am interested in sort of looking to see if nuclear power is the answer to all of our problems. Once again, we can see that the global economy is still in the shitter. It's not great, I'll be honest. But we're only running a 13 billion deficit right now, okay? You know, we can be happy with that. We're collecting 20 billion in corporation tax, so that is kind of nice. And we're probably going to be looking at another tax, and another tax could be a luxury goods tax. Junk food tax is just absolutely fucking worthless. An automation tax could be something that we could conceivably do. A punitive wealth tax, 4 billion is not enough. It's absolutely not enough. Alternatively, a punitive tax on superstores. I think we're gonna take a punitive tax on superstores. In fact, no, we're not. No, we're not. I mean, look at this. It's only gonna raise us 5 billion. It's going to decrease car usage, though, and it's going to piss the capitalists off to no end. So it doesn't seem worth it. And honestly, I'm not concerned the fact that we just wasted a butt ton of political capital there. Obviously, it's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Right. A mansion tax. A mansion tax currently raises us 5 billion. Could we do more with that money? Or could we increase the amount of money that we're getting from the mansion tax? You know what, potentially, but by only 2 billion, it still doesn't make it a viable way to get money. We're going to need to be, you know, a little bit more radical, I think, if we're wanting to collect any sort of cash. A carbon tax. Now, a carbon tax is something that I would be very much interested in doing. It is going to hurt our economy a little bit, but you know what? We're in sort of a socialist state, so I'm okay with the fact that we are going to be hurting our economy. However, the fact that brain drain has just developed, means that we are going to have to scale back our massive tax spending spree, or massive tax collecting spree, to be honest. Now, a terrorist was assassinated. Everybody likes us a little bit more. Terrorist activity is down a little bit. Liberals not too keen on us. Honestly, that's understandable, and thankfully our GDP looks like it's leveling off. However, brain drain is going to be having a little bit of an effect. A 10% effect. It's also going to decrease productivity by 9%. We need to get that down as soon as possible. Egalitarian society has ended. Also not great. Homelessness. State housing is already fully funded. Like, how can we do any more? And we're still running a budget deficit of 17 billion. So overall, a bad turn. A bad turn. I'll be honest with you, a bad turn. Mansion tax, you're getting cancelled. You're getting absolutely cancelled. The amount that you contribute to brain drain compared to the amount that you actually bring in tax revenue, it's just not worth it. We can get away with introducing much more radical taxes. For example, the carbon tax. That is something that I am totally going to be on board with. And as such, I don't think we're going to spend any more political capital this turn. So we will have enough political capital to introduce the carbon tax next turn. Also, we want to make sure that we get egalitarian society back. I don't understand how egalitarian society and brain drain literally ended on the same turn. That's kind of a little bit crazy, but whatever. Let's quickly drop in with our threat assessment. The Freedom League, I think that's the Liberals. Liberals really aren't keen on us. Perhaps we shouldn't have, perhaps we shouldn't have assassinated that terrorist. Now, let me just check on border controls and see what is happening. Liberals are really not keen on the fact that we've got such harsh border controls, but it seems fine for now. It seems fine. It seems alright. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go to the next turn. There's really no reason in us sticking around this turn because we want to make sure that we introduce this carbon tax very, very soon. Green Utopia. You truly have made this country a green and pleasant land, free from the horrors of pollution, waste and damage to the climate. We and the planet thank you. Fair enough. And also a liberal plot. Fantastic. Ban fracking. Oh shit, I should have allowed fracking. But I suppose we're kind of an eco dude now, so that is fine with me. Makes sense. The fact that the Freedom League is in existence is a little bit annoying. Is there something that we can do about this? Let's scale back. Let's scale back this. In fact, no. Can we? What do we want to prioritize doing? Because yeah, we need to seriously consider what we want to prioritize, because we've got two major issues that are going to be confronting us right now. We've got the deficit that we need to tackle, and we've also got the liberal plot. Brain drain is going to be reducing slowly. The mansion tax was abolished. I think we need to prioritize sorting out the liberals. I genuinely think we do. Have we not gotten rid of this yet? We need to get rid of this. Let's lower this. Yeah, okay, let's prioritize making the liberals happy. Because otherwise we're going to be dead. And dying is not really on my list. Let's scale this right back. Let's also scale border controls right back to something like that. Immigration is going to be a little bit larger. Patriots aren't going to like us as much as they currently do. But you know what? That's a sacrifice that I am absolutely willing to pay. Tasers, liberals aren't happy with as well. Should we just cancel this entire policy? Let's just cancel this entire policy. Now, what we might actually see is the emergence of crime again. Now, that's not something I really want to see. You know, living in a crime-free society is fantastic. It is really good to be living in a crime-free society. Liberal plot, thanks. I'm really working on it as hard as I fucking well can. I'm really working on it. I'm very much working on it. How is our GDP so utterly trash? Like, we seem completely uninsulated from the fact that the global economy just went downhill for like 10 months. At least we had some cash reserves. However, if we don't put a tax in place this turn, we are going to be going into debt. And that's not something I'm really super fond of, I'll be honest with you. But unfortunately, we just do not have enough to enact that carbon tax. So we're going to have to wait until the next turn. Unless we want to put income tax up a little bit. I mean, an income tax increase would increase equality. It would increase brain drain, though. Now, I'm not entirely sure that that's what we want to be doing. I mean, look at the decrease that we've got in GDP. Not in GDP. Look at the decrease that we've got in income tax. I mean, that's a substantial. From its peak at 69.9 billion, that looks like a third has been taken off. I can't really tell, but well, in fact, you know what? I can check. Cancel. I can check how much we're taking in income tax right now. 45 billion. That's literally a third that we've lost. If we still had that third, then we wouldn't be in a deficit. So what I'm saying is that our economy can work, right? The current tax position that we're in means that our economy can work. It's just not working because of the lack of GDP. And we need to make sure that we get on our GDP. You know what? Let's hold the course. Let's try and keep income tax at the current level. Let's see if there's any unnecessary expenditure that we can use to just cut out. I mean, there's nothing here. I mean, child benefit, we could cancel this policy, save 5 billion or so. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's kind of, in fact, you know what? No, we'll keep child benefit. Let's go down the route that the SNP would go down, the Scottish National Party, currently in Scotland. Let us say, hey ho, we are going to remain true to our course. We are going to continue to spend more money than we are taking in by around about 29 billion. Actually, that's not super far away from the figure that it is in Scotland, you know. I think the SNP do have plans to rectify the economic situation in the UK, and they would continue to spend more than they're taking in tax. So we are going to be going into debt. However, that may not be the absolute worst thing in the world. But hey ho. Wow, wait a minute. 100% of our population is now an ethnic minority? What? That literally doesn't make sense. That literally doesn't make sense. No, that can't make sense, right? Because if 100% of our country was an ethnic minority, then they would be an ethnic majority, surely. In fact, it would just be a majority. They'd just be people. I mean, they are just people. I don't understand that. I do not understand that. But hey ho, hey ho, hey ho. That's very, 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 very strange. But alas, I shall be content with it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna finish up there for today. My name, of course, has been Over to Potato. Thank you very, very much for tuning in to Democracy 3. We've been playing as semi-independent or independent Scotland, whichever you'd like. We've been playing as the Scottish National Party. And fingers crossed you'll tune in next time for some more Democracy 3. And until then, bye.